Everything you need to know about Brunei's economy. The Sultanate of Brunei Darussalam, or simply Brunei, is an Asian country with no land boundaries to neighboring countries. It's situated on the north coast of the island of Borneo in Southeast Asia, which separates Brunei from Malaysia and Indonesia. The country consists of two parts, Brunei Town and Mora, which are separated by the Sarawak district of Limbang. Brunei was once included in the maritime empire of Majapahit and Malacca, although it never achieved full independence from these kingdoms. GDP per capita 2022. $55,500 estimate. GDP, purchasing power parity. $57.3 billion. Fiscal year. 1 July 30 June. The economy is heavily dependent on oil and gas production. Crude oil production accounts for nearly half of GDP and 90% of export revenues. The Brunei government has shown commitment to diversifying its economy away from hydrocarbons in recent years, but it remains highly dependent on energy exports. Brunei's heavy reliance on oil and gas leaves it vulnerable to fluctuations in commodity prices. It can cover their GFP, population, or their economy sector. GDP by economic sectors. The economy of Brunei was estimated by its government to have been $21.95 billion in 2011. It has a petroleum-based economy with exports of oil and natural gas accounting for over 90% of its GDP. Per capita income is very high, on par with developed nations, and substantial income from overseas investment supplements income from domestic production. Brunei is one of only 6 countries, along with Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Norway, and Switzerland, that maintain a AAA rating from all 3 major credit rating agencies, Standard & Poor's, Fitch Ratings, and Moody's Investors Service. However, it faces long-term challenges due to relatively low levels of innovation. As a result, productivity growth has lagged behind its neighbors. Debt as percentage of GDP. The debt-to-GDP ratio is one of 2 key measures of a country's fiscal health. The higher a country's debt, or debt burden, relative to its economic output, GDP, generally speaking, the greater its fiscal stress. According to data provided by World Bank, Brunei's total government debt was equivalent to 39% of GDP in 2017, down from 42% in 2016. However, Brunei's net foreign assets, the excess of foreign assets over liabilities, were equal to 64% of GDP in 2017 and 83% in 2016. That means that if we subtract net foreign assets from total debt, Brunei actually has a negative net public sector debt load. That is, it owes more money than it owns abroad. This makes sense given that most countries are net creditors with respect to other countries. They own more assets abroad than foreigners own domestically. Unemployment rate. The unemployment rate in Brunei is 3%. The population of Brunei is 417,200, 2016 estimate. The unemployment rate of a country is determined by those individuals who are actively seeking work but cannot find employment. This number can be misleading as it does not account for those individuals that are no longer seeking employment, for example, students and long-term disabled people. The actual or true unemployment rate would be much higher than stated due to these reasons. In addition, some countries may have very strict laws on immigration, which make it impossible for immigrants to seek employment within their borders. Therefore, many people from poorer countries tend to migrate towards more prosperous nations, where they will have an increased opportunity of finding work. Economic Freedom Index ranking and Human Development Index ranking. For a country at a given level of economic development, its economic freedom ranking is theoretically higher than its human development ranking. This means that, all else being equal, countries with greater economic freedom will tend to also have a better overall quality of life, despite their lower level of development. As an example, Luxembourg has a very high level of economic freedom and a high overall quality of life despite its very low level of human development. Debt Service Ratio (DSR). The DSR is used as an indicator of how much a country is paying each year on its debt. The ratio expresses a country's repayment obligations as a percentage of exports of goods and services. The higher the ratio, in general, the worse off a country will be when it comes time to make interest payments. In 2016, Brunei's DSR was 2.71%. This means that Brunei paid US $2.71 for every US $100 worth of exports they earned that year. We hope you enjoy from this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe our channel for future updates. Thanks for watching.